neighbors, it's Brad here at Etrailer, and today we're taking a look at the B&W Patriot sliding fifth wheel in a 2020 Chevy Silverado 3500. Something that I recommend to every person that is towing a fifth wheel with a short bed or not a long bed truck is going to be a sliding fifth wheel. There's other ways around, preventing cab corners from getting crushed. You can get a movable pin box, and that's going to help a little bit. But this is a great way if you're having to navigate in some really tight turns to have that ability to be able to slide this back, give you that clearance to make that turn, and then you can hit the road after that. Otherwise, you are going to be stuck with just kind of smaller angles than normal. Otherwise, you run the risk of damaging your truck. So this is a nice, easy way to make that short bed still be able to tow a fifth wheel with no problem. And to operate the slide function, it's super easy on here. You'll just go back, you'll reach this handle, and then that's going to stay in place until you slide this back, and then it's going to lock in, and that way you get quite a bit more movement. It's about 12 inches of movement actually, and that's going to really make a big difference when it comes to clearance against your cab. Besides being a sliding fifth wheel, this is a B&W, which says a lot. In the towing world, B&W really does set the bar extremely high when it comes to quality. You can ask really anyone that has any B&W products and they're probably going to say the same thing. It's definitely more of a premium product, but when it comes to towing your fifth wheel, it can be a world of difference. That really just makes for a nicer experience. And a few things kind of play into ball with that. Mostly something that you're going to notice right out the gate compared to other fifth wheels is the urethane that the head sits on and urethane throughout makes this really quiet. So as it moves around, you're hitting bumps. There's this little chain here on our latch that's slinging around, but other than that, there's no clunking of metal, where other fifth wheels, as you're driving around, they kind of flop around and it doesn't sound exactly that great. Seems kind of small, but that is going to translate to just smoother towing operation. And speaking of operation, when hooking up to your to your camper or your trailer, you do have this pin here that keeps the handle locked in place. So we'll just slide this out, and as we open this up, nice easy handled, spring loaded. We have dual jaws here, and these jaws are going to wrap around the kingpin and give you a nice secure bite onto it. It's going to hold it in place, but also when you're going to unhook it, a lot of times, unless you're on perfectly level ground, these can bind up, and that's really not the case here. This makes it a lot easier to unhinge it. And the features really don't stop there. Something that I really like about these, they're very heavy, and if you want to make this a truck again by removing the fifth wheel, it is, it's kind of a job, especially on some other fifth wheels that are all in one. Well, this one, you can separate that weight a little bit by taking the head off, and that's super easy to do. You just have these handles here that are nice rubber grip. You just lift this up and this slides out, making it super easy. That's going to save you maybe about 40 pounds, and that way you can get the base out, probably with the help of someone else, but it does take a lot of that weight off. And then to drop this back down, you just make sure it's dropped in, release the handles, now we're locked in place. Now you'll see that this says 18K, so it's rated for a gross trailer weight rating of 18,000 pounds, which is pretty heavy duty. You also have a vertical load limit, which is going to be that downward pressure put on here at 4,500 pounds. So this is definitely a durable, heavy duty fifth wheel. Again, B&W really stands behind their products, and that's something that's really nice too, is that gray powder coat finish really makes this stand out. It seems like the powder coat that they use really holds up long term. You got some nice little decals here, really patriotic, and that goes with B&W is all made in the USA, which says a lot about this product. You do have some height adjustability here as well. It's actually pretty easy to do. You just remove the head, and where we have these A's where this sits on, it's just going to be a few bolts, and there's going to be a few different settings that you can adjust it for. So that way you can get it really dialed into your trailer. I just have it on the mid height, and generally that works really well with tonneau covers. So if you have a tonneau cover and you're worried about clearance, you can actually get it almost to the top setting depending on which tonneau cover you have and still clear it, which is really nice. We also have a toolbox in this bed, and it's going to clear that with no problem. So overall, for being a sliding hitch, it's not super big. It really does just utilize the space as much as it can. Really the sliding function, it's not giving you any extra that you don't need. It's really using all the space possible and being heavy duty in the process. Now this will drop into any ISR standard rails. We have a Demco that we just installed on here, so that's going to work well. It doesn't matter if you have a Reese, Demco, or really any brand, whatever rails you have, this will work with it. Now, when choosing the fifth wheel, there's plenty of options out there, and I highly suggest that you do your research. But I will say, B&W is one of my personal favorites. If I had this exact truck, this is probably what I would buy. Again, it comes at a little bit more of a premium price point, but overall, if your towing experience is that much better and it's something you can just keep long term, it's totally worth it. And that's something to be said too. The fact that it drops in ISR rails means that if you ever do change trucks, this can come along with you. You can drop it in, it shouldn't be a problem. And that was a look at the B&W Patriot sliding fifth wheel on a 2020 Chevrolet Silverado 3500.